I know because I've been there, I've seen it.
Did you have any major health scares whilst you were at your peak of bodybuilding? Or concerns?
No, I mean, we didn't have the knowledge, like just a couple of books around and a few magazines, so not very little knowledge. Underground steroid book, we had that.
Is that William Llewellyn one?
No, this was Dan Duchesne, who was like a bit of a, bit out there. He wasn't a medical doctor or anything, but he documented all the different stuff. And I think I put 2 books out, and the second one was like pretty much like, well, this is what I'm in Gold's Gym, and this is what they're doing for the Nationals, and this is what they're doing for the Olympia, and this, so we could see what other people were doing. And then I had a doctor, which is very unusual, and I know why. People didn't want to go to their doctor and didn't want to say to their doctor, I'm on anabolic steroids, can you help me? Because they literally like want to throw you out the surgery at that point. I don't know how it would be now, but they're like, what, steroids? So it's the same thing with my doctor. It's like, no, I don't, I'm not going to give you that, and I'm not going to encourage it. Well, I'm like trying to look after my health, and I'm going to do it anyway. At first he said no, yeah. And then he saw me on TV because I was in the World Games in 1985. One weekend was in my first contest, novice, and everyone was so impressed. They invite me onto the British team as a heavyweight 2 weeks later in the World Games. And they filmed the opening ceremony of the World Games. It's like the, sports that didn't make the Olympic Games. It's like a junior Olympic Games. So there's lots of sports in there. And they had an opening ceremony, and the manager of the British team said, I want you and Della Shahabi, who was a female representative, to go out there to do the opening ceremony and take your top off and hit some poses. And of course, it's visual, right? So all the cameras came over, it got on TV, and my doctor said, I saw you on TV. And I was like, yeah, I know, mate. He said, well, I can see you're serious about this. That's what I'm trying to tell you, mate, And he's like, all right then, so come every few months, I'll do your blood pressure and all this and give you some feedback. But all the other lads in the gym, they were like, nah, the doctor won't do anything. So nobody really know what they're doing. So did I have any major problems? No, I didn't. What happened in my blood? Kidney readings were over normal. So they were higher than normal. Probably the amount of protein I was eating, 400 or 500 grams a day. Liver enzymes, sometimes a little elevated, but I've seen people with more elevated liver enzymes that are not even on steroids. They just got fatty liver disease or, not even alcohol, just too much carbs over the years, uncontrolled blood sugar. So it wasn't anything major. The one thing that happened to me that was life-threatening that I could have died from was I had 6 weeks before the Mr. Olympia in 97, I started coughing up blood.
Oh, shit.
So I went to the hospital, and they said I had internal bleeding, the top of the stomach and the esophagus. So fortunately, if it was lower down, I might not have noticed because it would come out in your shit. But as it was up, it was irritating. I was coughing and it was coming out, so I knew I was bleeding inside. And this was 6 weeks before the Olympia, and I cough in the morning, there's blood coming up, and I'm like, that don't look good, but hey, I got to do my cardio. I'll deal with it after cardio. So I went downstairs to do my cardio and just like, come on, what's wrong with you? No, it's just okay. I couldn't even do it. I was like, okay, something's wrong. I get no oxygen. It must be from the blood. So I went to the hospital. They told me what happened. They had me in. I had blood transfusion and some little laser thing to close the vein. So he said, what are you doing? And I said, oh, here's all my stuff. I'm taking the steroids and growth hormone, anti-estrogen, all that. Oh, yeah, and this anti-inflammatory medicine that my doctor gives me for my shoulder.
It's anti-inflammatory, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the thing from the doctor, yeah. He said, look here in the medical book. He said, very toxic to the stomach lining, should be taken for no more than 6 weeks. He said, how long have you been on it? I said, 2 years. Like the doctor just kept giving me the prescription. He said, don't even come to see me. He said, just go and sign the thing and get your repeat prescription.
That's the irony of the whole thing though, right?
That's the irony. Got all this stuff there then. And he's looking at all this. He's like, no. This is it. This is a thing. So yeah, something that was prescribed from my doctor, and I'm self-medicating. Steroids are hormones. So yeah, you can get side effects, especially if you're taking a lot more than the recommended amount. But compared to a lot of drugs, they're not that dangerous. But of course, overuse, you're going to suppress your own system, and a lot of people got in trouble with them using high doses over a long period of time, increase your chance of getting heart disease and blood clots and so on. So I just tell people, like, if you're going to do it, like, you know, make sure that you're monitoring things. So at least if something is not right, you have the free, you know, and you can do something about it. But I got the feeling, at least back then, it was difficult to get monitored, and it's a little bit of, well, what I'm going to do anyway. I'd rather not know, because I just want to do what
do the thing you want to do anyway.
I don't want to be like,
totally can't do it.
You know, messed up in the head. I'd rather just get on with it. So, but yeah, it makes sense to know what's going on and find out as much as you can if you're thinking about it. Like, you know.
Do you think the transparency with steroids and performance enhancing drugs now is actually of a better service to people, that people aren't just recklessly taking shit?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's so much more advice you can get now with the internet, and doctors that kind of specialize in this. Even in the UK, you've got specialist doctors for hormones. We didn't have any of that, yeah. So, but it's totally different landscape now with the PEDs. It's like household stuff, right? Everyone knows, like, girls are on, I'm just on a bit of VAR. You mean Anavar, oxandrolone?
We're in this like fem testing now. They take microdose amounts of testosterone.
Yeah, well,
which is a slippery slope.
there is a case for that in women post-menopause, because women do have obviously a certain amount of testosterone in the system. So there is a case for supplementing that along with estrogen and so on with menopausal women to have a better quality of life. But when you're younger, it's a different story, right? It's just, I think it's just a cosmetic thing now, especially for a lot of guys, right? They want the look, and it's a quicker route to do it. Whereas before it was more like, well, I want to do a competition, or you know, there's powerlifters in the gym doing powerlifting competitions. So it was more like the serious guys that were doing competitions, bodybuilding or powerlifting, bit of an inner circle thing. But now it's everyone knows about steroids, right? And they're used so widely now. You know, your favorite movie stars, when they're getting in really good shape for a movie, yes.
In 6 weeks.
Yes, they're using steroids. I mean, why not? They're getting paid a lot of money, right? More than the guy that wins the Mr. Olympia, so I guess they can justify it. Actors, musicians, you know, it's everywhere. So, yeah, it was different. It was very much inner circle thing. Even when I first started going to the gym and asked a few guys about steroids, they were like, bit cagey, like, no, I'm not using anything, or, you know, speak to me later, or whatever. So now you got more information on everything, steroids including. You've got the internet, some more information, which should be good, right? Sometimes it's not good, because you don't only have good information, you've got to sift through it and get rid of the bullshit information. So listen to somebody that's qualified, at least, to talk about what they're talking about.